Welcome back to Under Oath. Now, what we have here today is I just jumped out of an airplane. I did a military
hold
jump
on.
over
Before we get into the segment, what do you think of my hat?
I had buyer's remorse. Because I never thought I'd have to stare at you sitting on our show wearing the hat. I always thought this was something you would wear.
Well, what did you think I would do with the
your
hat?
musclehead friend? I thought it'd be a musclehead friend thing. You'd be out with your muscleheads, hanging out, kicking, standing by the dually, doing all your thing. But it wouldn't involve me.
Well, here you are. Surprise, surprise.
All right. So over the weekend, I had a military jump with some veterans. I jumped out of I believe it was a weird little plane. Hadn't jumped out in about 37 years.
Very brave of you, I must say.
Or stupid.
I would never do that.
Well, you saw it.
I saw it. And I would never, ever do that.
There's an insanity to it, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to, it's just a state of mind. Yeah, I don't care. That's what has to go through your head.
I do care.
That's
why I wouldn't do it.
Stand in the door 6 minutes, watching the ground go by. It's no good. And I think about what's the odds of me dying doing it? Because you gave me some crap for doing it. You go,
yeah, I didn't want you to do it because if you died, then who would do the trust accounts? Who would do all the advertising? Who would do this show?
You would.
No.
Sure, you get Sam. She'd get my replacement in 10 seconds. It'd be Chris Hunt sitting in the chair. You'd be picking on him. I know that's the way it worked. All right. I started thinking about some of the numbers that deals with, how you die doing dangerous things. We're going to test you on this one.
Test me. All right, let's go.
Test you. All right. Skydiving. Not a military jump, what I did, but just, where yahoos get up there and they attach each other to each other and they do all these tricks in the air and stuff like that. Skydiving. What do you think the deaths are? What do you think the odds are?
Probably 10 people a day die doing that.
1 out of 100,000. 1 to every 100,000 jumps.
Really?
Yes.
That seems low.
I don't like that number. Now, there's a difference. You know what base jumping is where you just hold your thing and jump off like a mountain.
Yeah, that seems dangerous too.
That's 1 out of 60.
1 out of 60 people die doing that?
Yeah, that's about a 1.33 chance of dying.
And people still do that?
People want the rush. Now here's weird things because some of these are, what do you think boxing is?
Boxing?
Yeah.
Oh, 1 in a million dying.
1 in 2,200.
Really?
That number seems ridiculous.
Yeah.
But here's the weird one. Bungee jumping, which has been canceled in a lot of states because of how inherently dangerous it is. What do you think the numbers of actual deaths, the odds are?
Oh, man, there's got to be like 10 people a day dying from bungee jumping.
1 in 500,000.
I find that very difficult to believe.
If you think about it, you're talking about 50 times 10. That's almost 5,000 times the number of people who die in the boxing. That number doesn't seem right, but it actually is. So I think we've been snowed about how dangerous bungee jumping actually is.
It's a conspiracy to stop us from bungee jumping?
Yeah, because guess football numbers.
Oh, no
There's
one ever
no
dies
way you're going to get that.
No one dies playing football.
1 in 50,000.
Wow.
I had no idea.
Has there been 50,000 football players in the NFL?
I'm sure. They probably have 5,000 in
every year.
Each
team is like, what, 80?
80 times 40 is about 2,000. So over 20, 30 years, maybe. And high school, college. Got to count that too.
Okay.
But some of the numbers really spooked me. Grand Prix driving.
It seems like it would be pretty safe.
1 in 100.
Wow.
You have a 1% chance dying.
Wow.
Doing Grand Prix racing.
That's amazing.
How do you even get insurance for that?
I don't think you do.
I mean, could you imagine the cost of insurance for that?
Well, it'd have to relate to how much they pay out.
I was reading a story about this actor who passed away about 30 years ago, and he was sick when they did the movie. And they go, we're not going to let him do the movie because we don't want to pay for the insurance because it's so high if he dies. And Robert De Niro paid his salary. Yeah.
Wow.
Is that in Godfather, one of the characters, he paid the salary for the guy.
Robert De Niro was successful enough when The Godfather was made that he could pay.
Oh, he was a dude.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Remember? You talking to me?
Yeah, I remember
that. Was Taxi.
That he was doing that well.
But I mean, I think about this and I think about some of the accidents and, we represent people that remember the balloon case.
Oh, yeah.
We represent somebody who fell out of a balloon.
No, I didn't fall. The balloon tipped while they were on the ground.
Well.
I mean, it got yanked over, though. I mean, she got hurt.
The guy actually who was running the balloon place said, could you help me catch the balloon or something like that?
Yeah.
Like a passenger.
Hold this.
Like this poor woman who the one goal in life was to ride a balloon one day.
On her birthday.
On her birthday, I'm going to get in the balloon, and the balloon starts taking off, and the guy goes, could you help me with this? No, you do not ask the poor lady to help you with the balloon.
That seems like a poor idea.
It seems like I don't have the skills for that. I don't have the skills for that. You told me to catch the balloon, I'm going, you're on your own.
Yeah, I can't do it.
You remember the Disney employee? They used to have this ride. It was called the Sky Tram. It was a sky, it was like a little, they were like kind of ski toboggans. And 4 people, and it would go over the park. And
oh, yeah, I remember.
You always have to watch out because kids would spit on you from them. And that didn't stop them. All the people who got hurt getting stuff thrown at them didn't get stopped. There was a guy cleaning it, and it started moving. And the guy, instead of letting it go, he grabs hold of the thing, and it takes off with him on it. And he finally couldn't hold on anymore and plummeted to his death.
Why didn't he just climb up into it?
He didn't have the strength.
He had the strength to hold on?
For a while.
Well, he should have had the strength to climb into it.
They probably had to write a big check on that one.
I'm sure they did.
There's been a lot of Disney deaths people don't even aware of. You know how many people died on Space Mountain?
No.
6 or 7.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
From what?
Decapitated.
Are you serious?
Look it up. Look it up.
Can you imagine being the people behind somebody who gets decapitated on a roller coaster?
This sounds like a bad movie where you like catch the head or something.
Well, I think that kind of leads into the topic that we have for today. What?
Yeah.
Can I sue Disney if I'm not the guy who gets his head knocked off? Obviously, my estate can
Emotional
sue.
damages.
If I'm the guy behind the guy who gets his head lopped off,
and it causes me remember mental damages.
How does somebody's head coming off right in front of you not cause mental damage?
I don't know if you're cool. I mean, if you're into that stuff, you might have to pay them to see it.
I don't think anybody's
for $10,000.
Like, cool.
I got to hold a head. I mean, you know, some people are into
it lands in your lap. Oh.
Sad thing is, you know, I wonder if it's like,
are you ever sleeping
these are
again?
Such bad jokes, because it's not a joke, because I know that, you know, supposedly you live for a little bit.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Like
your head still processing information?
Yeah. Until your brain, the oxygen fully leaves your brain.
Oh my God. Can you imagine being that guy whose head comes off and you're in somebody else's lap?
Like a healthy person can live, yeah.
You're trying to figure out the perspective, like, what am I doing?
I can't imagine the look you'd give. You know, I wonder if you'd have eye contact. That'd be some spooky
That's
stuff.
The last thing you see?
I'm done.
Oh,
I'd be like going, you owe me a lot of money. I'm never going to forget this.
Emotional distress. It's a thing.
Yeah. But it's not intentional affliction, just emotional distress.
No, it's negligent infliction.
You know, a lot of people do the parachuting thing. And somebody asked me when I was jumping if I was going tandem. For those who don't know what tandem is, that they hook you to an experienced guy and you go out the plane together and he controls it. Well, this 18-year-old kid did this tandem jump and they both burned in.
Oh.
Guess how much this element was?
Where was it? You know the state?
No.
So Florida, I'd say like 4 or 5 million.
Times it by 10.
Wow.
$40 million.
How old was the kid?
18. Family was awarded $40 million.
Wow, he wouldn't. I don't know. That seems like a lot. How many people do you think can sue for emotional distress? Say that kid that was doing the tandem jump, right?
Right.
Like he couldn't have been the only family. That couldn't have been the only family there to watch all of this. There had to have been like other families. What do you think? The other family comes to you, right? Not the kid that died, not his family. The family next to him.
Here's the problem. It's state-based issue. For me to sue for viewing another death, different states differ, because when I took the bar exam, that was different in a couple different states, because one required it to be a relative. Even like a fiance wasn't included in certain states.
Oh, wow. That's harsh. Yeah.
So I think if it's a relative, you're in business. But some states don't allow you. I caught the head. Well,
some states require you to, and I think Florida is one of them, you have to actually also be injured. Like it has to touch you. Not injured like I have to go to the hospital, but there has to be a physical contact between you and the thing that happened that caused the death.
You know, we deal with this all the time. I mean, I have a case right now where it's a negligent security where a guy gets killed outside of a bar. And that bar knew that they had shootings there a couple times.
Yeah.
But people are like, oh, well, they're not responsible. So Disney's responsible for the death, and that obviously if somebody can stand up in a ride, somebody might stand up that this is going to happen.
Do you though?
Yeah, it's inherently dangerous.
Do you know that somebody's going to stand up on a roller coaster?
Have you not seen dummies? You could expect people to do dumb stuff like lawnmowers that said, do not. Some of the warnings on the side of lawnmowers are built for dummies. And because they go, well, we know dumb people will do these things.
You think Disney settled that case, or was that a jury award?
No, I guarantee they wrote that check to get away with. Disney.
I don't know that a jury would say, yeah, you should have anticipated that people would stand up on the damn roller coaster.
Disney avoids bad press at all costs. That's the thing about Disney. There's so many people that come to visit. There are going to be deaths. People die of heart attacks on rides. People sometimes make bad judgment calls, like the family that entered the water at the Grand Floridian and their child died.
The alligator that pulled them in.
Yeah.
Tragedy.
Well, he was in already. He was waiting.
Okay.
Which is a bad choice. But that you shouldn't lose your life because of that.
How Florida waters? Do you let your kid get into a foot of water without you right there?
I'm not going in. I know that Disney settled real quick. I don't know what they settled for, but they, and I could understand that because,
so this is Disney
they have a
settling.
Beach area where they don't make it clear to people at night not to go in the water.
So this is Disney settling rather than taking cases and having a jury decide. I don't know that a jury necessarily says, yeah, you should have anticipated that a guy stands up on Space Mountain. Maybe a jury does say, yeah, you should anticipate a kid wanders down to the water without the parent right there. But Space Mountain standing up on the roller coaster, what do you think is going to happen?
If you're not your legs aren't locked in and you can't stand up, people do this all the time. Woo! They put their hands up. And the woo just kind of goes.
I went to Virginia a few months ago, and I went with my son to a roller coaster park, and I was legitimately scared for my life on this roller coaster as it's taking us up. It goes click, 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 right?
They sound cheap, don't they?
It sounds really cheap.
Not like Disney.
But it's going click, 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 click on the way up. And then our particular car goes kla-la-lunk. And the thing goes chick like that. No one else's does that, just ours.
Well, look at you.
And we're 3/4 of the way up. I'm like, there's a chance we're going to die.
You're a 230-pound adult,
There's a chance we're going to die on this thing. I was
like
terrified, not because of the roller coaster, because I thought a mechanical failure was sure to happen.
You know what's weird? I won't do roller coasters.
You'll jump out of an airplane, but you don't do roller coasters.
Yeah. Jumping in the airplane did make me sick. It
would make me sick just getting in the plane.
Remember, our producer convinced me to go on one of these twisted turn things,
that was
like
hysterical.
a teacup ride with her.
That was hysterical.
And then she brought you on, and you go, "I'm going to make you sick." And then 2 seconds later, you go, "Bleh." You started getting sick.
No, I didn't get sick.
Oh, remember? You were,
no,
oh Lord,
I didn't get sick. I was a little dizzy.
Fast.
No, I was a little dizzy.
You heard
but
it.
I had it going so fast that the centrifugal force pushed me back. I couldn't even grab the wheel to turn it.
I remember that. Yeah. My brain hurted for 3 days.
Hurted?
See? It screwed up my language skills.
Oh, your language skills screwed up with.
I never used hurted before I was in that damn teacup thing. Okay. And it was a storm ride at Universal. Stay away from that.
All right, getting back to the $40 million that was awarded to the family of the skydive accident. $40 million was awarded. That's a very specific word, awarded. That means a jury did that.
I mean, they might have only had $500,000 of insurance.
Right. So it might have been one of those things where, because we encounter this all the time, where we demand policy limits, and they say, no, go screw yourself, and we end up going to trial. And the jury gives us more than policy limits, obviously, but you can't collect any more than the actual policy limit. So that might have been just $1 million that they ended up actually getting.
It's sad because people don't realize that. And, it's hard to tell people all the time where they're going, well, I saw this commercial where he got remember the largest jury award in Florida. Just so you know where it came from, and we're not going to discuss the attorney or anything else like that. But the largest jury award ever was against a convicted felon who was serving, I think, like a 20-year sentence or something like that. Yeah, he would never, in prison. He couldn't afford $5,000, much less the hundreds of millions he was awarded.
Could never actually pay that. So be careful when you look at the billboards and advertisements for lawyers, is what we're saying. Because just because you got awarded a certain amount of money doesn't mean that anybody actually got a check for that.
It's no fun. I think about this all the time when people get hurt and they'll come to you and they'll go, well, why can't we get more? And you got to give them the bad news. And it doesn't, no matter how good a lawyer I am, I can't get you more than what normal policy limit is.
Which is why we always suggest that everybody get uninsured motorists as much as you can possibly afford. It's the best money you'll ever spend if you get into an accident.
I mean, that sucks. You know, I think about a lot of things when we deal with, you know, people risk their lives over things. Like even the guy who ran the parachute place, he goes, accidents happen.
Did you have a chance to buy insurance before you jumped out?
I have insurance.
No, did they sell insurance specifically for that day?
No.
Because I remember going to the airport a long time ago, and you could buy flight insurance, like $1 million worth of life insurance for like $5. It was just good for that day. You had to put your flight number in, your name, your destination, and if the plane crashed that day, then the $5 million would go to whoever you wanted it to go to. I would think that they would have something like that.
You know what they had? A bunch of waivers. I signed my name no less than 70. I signed my name less on my last mortgage than I did to jump out of this airplane. I mean,
Really?
I conservatively 62 times.
Wow.
I mean, and that jump lasted 60 seconds at most.
That is a lot.
So here's the thing. If jumping out of this airplane was a dangerous, stupid choice. And whatever benefit I received from it, I think at a certain age, you should just try to make better choices. I mean, when you're young and your life isn't worth crap, you know, go ahead and do it.
What if you're young and you see something horrible happen? Like the lady, the trainer who got bit by the alligator, grabbed her hand, pulled her into the tank.
That kid was locked.
Started rolling.
That little 7-year-old, it was like he was watching the best thing he's ever seen.
Oh, you saw the video?
Oh, he was staring through that glass. I'm talking big-eyed.
And you don't think that little kid has any emotional trauma for watching that trainer get pulled into the tank?
I mean, serial killer stuff later? Or
maybe.
No, I don't know. Maybe. He might go over to the dark side. You know, little Darth Vader moment. He was going to be a good Jedi, and then he saw the gator, and he got full Darth Vader. Maybe. Here's the thing. I think little kids
Parents of that kid come in and say, Jeff, our kid can't sleep. He wets the bed. We've taken him to a psychiatrist. Nothing's working. We want to sue this place. What do you tell them?
I guess it depends on the state I'm in. The state I'm in that allows me, but like I said before, most you have to have a connection with the person. They have to be a relative. They have to be something else. Just because I saw somebody attacked doesn't mean that I have the rights to get, you know, for mental anguish and stuff like that.
All right, so forget the law for a little bit from a moral standpoint.
No. The problem is this, is that if something bad happens and 70 people see it, you know, then you have 70 people suing. I have mental anguish. I have all this other stuff. I think something that opens the door to just like a gazillion lawsuits and weird tangents and everything else like that. I think it really has to be direct. I think a direct emotional connection is a good place to start, because anytime something happens, you don't want 70,000 people suing. Or if I saw it on TV, for example, I'm going to sue ABC because they weren't able to shut off the death.
Well, Florida answers the question with physical impact rule. So you have to have been physically impacted by the accident. Not that you were necessarily hurt and had to go to the hospital, had your bones broken, but that it involved you in some personal way and that you were touched as part of the incident.
What I normally see, the normal reaction for people when bad stuff happens is to scatter. We scatter. I guarantee the 7-year-old wasn't going, I'm going in. You know, they were like 8 dudes there going, she seemed like a nice person, but not me.
I wonder if she signed a waiver.
What's that old line about firemen, that firemen run towards the fire? I've noticed it's almost impossible. I've seen this happen a bunch of times. When bad stuff happens, either you stand and watch, some weird voyeurism, you run, which is the majority situation, but very few people run towards it.
No, that is from 1970 to 80. That's what you just described. That is not today. Today, something bad happens, everybody gathers around in a huge crowd. Everybody yanks out their phones and starts to video.
Yeah, watching, voyeurism.
Yeah,
they're not helping.
No one's scattering,
but they're not
helping.
helping.
No one's running away. They're moving in closer to get a better shot.
But they're not helping.
No, one's helping.
So they're just sick people.
Yeah.
Oh, I got my TikTok. Sad
They're all
thing,
hoping
sad
for
thing is
that
how
$1 million.
many TikTok followers we
They're all
have.
hoping for that $1 million video.